going to do a decoupage collage today on this little paper. It's actually, it looks like a frame, but it's actually just some thick cardboard. It was a mat out of a picture frame, and I thought it actually kind of makes a good picture frame. It looks like it holds a, I don't know if that's a 5x7, I guess. So it came out of a regular picture frame that had the border and it had the glass and the backing, and then this was just the extra piece that sometimes you don't keep if you're not framing something that exact size or that's not the color you want. But I just saved these because well, somebody gave them to us, and I thought, yeah, these could definitely be used as just a frame if you decorate it. But I wanted to try something a little different on this one. I didn't want to just paint it and decorate it. I wanted to do some decoupage. So I'm going to leave this the black color that it is, although if this was just white or a color you didn't like, you can always paint it whatever color you want to show in your background. And I have this little hexagon shape that was cut on the Cricut, and my idea with this is how I'm picturing it. I'm going to have a whole bunch of little hexagons in this shape cut out and glued all over. And I think I'll just space them out evenly with a little black border around, so this background will be showing in between, like in the cracks of them. And I've been trying to think if I want to do a pattern or if I want to do all mostly one color or just various colors. And I'm thinking I want to do blue, so different shades of blue. So I have a whole bunch of magazines here, and I will go through and just find different blue patterns, different backgrounds. Doesn't really matter what it is. Anything that's blue, I can take some of the sky, I might take a piece of this, I might take a piece of that, and then go through all of these and find. I could even use some teal, some color like this, and I think it's even fun to put in some that have words or something on there. So even if I find one, this looks like denim in the background of this one, so I'll just go through and find different shades of blue that I like. Well, that's a really nice one. So you'll have some different textures. You'll have some that are solid blue like this, and then you'll have some that are a little different, like the denim blue or something else that has a little more patterns and different things going on. This has some little bird tracks, little bird feet on there, so something like that would be kind of cool. So I'll go through and get to find what kind of blues I want. As long as most of them are blue, I think it could be fun to throw in a couple that are maybe teal or slightly purpley blue or something like that would be cool. Now this is the Mod Podge. This is the stuff that you use when you're decoupaging. It's just a watery paste. If you don't have this stuff, you can use regular white Elmer's glue and water it down just a little bit. Just put, a few drops of water and stir it around, and you'll have something that's just like this. This does have a glossy finish. Mod Podge comes in different types of finishes. I like this one way better than the matte. I just like it to have a little shine to it. That way you don't have to do any varnish or anything when you're done. It's all done. And the way this stuff works is you brush a little bit onto the area where you want to stick something down. You don't brush everywhere right away, because if you're brushing it on thin, it's going to dry before you get to it. So you just work in the little area wherever you're starting. So if I'm starting on this side, I'll put a little bit of Mod Podge here. I'll stick down my shape after I cut it out, and then I'll brush over it with Mod Podge to sort of seal the top of it on there. If there's any, because the magazine pages are really thin, sometimes they'll curl up once they get wet. So brushing over the top of them with the foam brush will help to seal them on. So that way those corners that want to peel up, they'll get permanently stuck on there. And also brushing over the top will give us a nice even coat over the whole thing, so you'll have the glossy finish on everything when you're all done. So I'm going to get myself some of this Mod Podge. It was actually kind of sealed up because whoever closed it last let it drip down the side, and then it sealed itself shut when the paste dried. So here's how I get it out of the bottle, so I prevent that from happening next time, because I really don't want to mess with having to find a strong person who can open my jar of glue. I just want to be able to open it myself. And also, sometimes it'll seal itself shut to a point where you're not able to even open it, and then you've just wasted it, or you have to cut the bottle open to get to the glue, which then it's useless, and you have to throw out the rest or find another container to put it in. So I just pour out what I'm going to use, and I might use more of this, but I just get out a little bit to start, and then I let it sort of drip off the lip, but then I have my brush ready to go just to sort of clean up that little drip that was left there. And now it's good to go, and I can seal it back up. And I just make sure that if there is any residue left on there, it's very little and it's not enough to seal this guy shut. So we'll leave that over there until we need some more. I use a foam brush, not a bristle brush, because I don't like to see brush strokes with the Mod Podge. I just like it to be smooth, and this will give you a smoother finish. You won't be able to see where your brush was. So that's why I use this one. But you can use whatever you prefer. I just like the foam brushes. And I'm going to start to go through the magazines and find some shades of blue that I like, and I'll start just laying it down and tracing this little shape over all of them. I don't really know yet how many I'm going to need, but I'm just going to get a whole bunch to start and then start sticking them on. So I'm wrapping this up, and I have already stuck all these down, and I went over them, brushed over the top with the foam brush and the Mod Podge, and it does dry really fast. You can already tell where it's already starting to dry, and how it's going to look when it's done. So it'll have that little gloss, but of course I want my finish to be even. So on these areas where I didn't put any Mod Podge, I'm just going to go and brush some on those areas real quick. And this would be a good time if you want to put some glitter on there. You can do it on the freshly brushed on Mod Podge, because it'll be sticky in that area. And of course, you can tell that I let them hang over the edge, and I don't want them to stay like that. On these little clusters, I didn't want to put them everywhere. I just sort of wanted to still see my background there. And so I left a lot of the black showing. And also that way it saved me on cutting. I didn't have to cut and trace so many of those little hexagon shapes, because it takes a while. And I just wanted this to be a quick project. So also I didn't have to worry about keeping them straight and lined up, because you'll find that you try to get them as even as possible and use the lines to sort of get them in position the right way. But as you start to branch out from your little cluster where you started, you'll find that they get a little crooked and they don't look as neat, because you are putting that space around them. So it's not just right up against each other. That'd be a little easier if it was. So this way it makes it a little easier. You don't have to worry about making them just perfect and fitting just right. I'm not going to put any glitter on this one, I don't think. But I am going to go around and cut off the extra pieces that are hanging off. So let me do that. And you can tell, since I just put a really thin coat, it's already dry of the last corner here where I started. That part is already dry. So I'll just go around, clean up my little edges by just cutting those off. And if there's any little overhang when you're done, you can always wrap around and just stick it around the edge there when you're all done. And I'm just going to come around and touch up some of these little areas so you can see how when they're a little piece sticking up, you just brush right over it. Maybe a little bit on the edge here, so you can fold that around the edge. Just like that, where that little piece was sticking up. Or when it's all dry, you can come in with some really small scissors and really get in there and trim off all these extra little pieces as closely as you want to. You can you can find magazines that people are getting rid of and use them for these. Magazines are really good for a collage just because the pages are so thin. They're easy to cut out and they're easy to glue down because, you know, unless you're using the cover or something, the cover can be a little bit thicker. But most of the pages are nice and thin, and they do have that little glossy finish. So even if you don't want to go over it with a varnish or something when you're done, or if you're not using the gloss Mod Podge, you'll still have a nice little finish on there because your paper will be glossy already on its own. And it's kind of fun to see what kind of different patterns you can find as you're looking through. And if someone's just getting rid of an old magazine, save it, or just pull out some of the good pages. Pull out some of the pages that have the good colors on there that you want to use on your collage. And this is another fun one that I did I want to show real quick. I did on a canvas. So I just sketched on the canvas a pineapple, kind of just the basic shape of a pineapple. I didn't get too crazy with the detail. And then filled it all in with different, you know, the appropriate color from the magazine. So you see a lot of grass and a lot of leaves and things in the green part up here. But then I went with some really fun ones with the yellow, and I got some that have words on there and pieces from ads and different things, and you can see some numbers and leaves and different patterns. So it's kind of fun to, you can use even the ones that have words or some, it's a little ad in there, you can always use those too. So I just went ahead and pulled out all the yellow ones that I wanted to use and mixed them up nicely so I didn't have all the same colors together. I mixed them all up. So you can see these three were all from one ad, and I just placed them in different areas. But something like this is a lot of fun, and you can have a use for those old magazines that you would otherwise just be thrown away.